bit of a failure. I've just tried to start live streaming my bike ride. Some of you may or may not have seen the tweet. It lasted about 30 seconds before I chickened out, because the live stream app, you can live stream GoPro up to the internet, which is what I was going to try and do, because I thought it would be quite a cool idea to live stream some of the ride I'm going to do next weekend. For instance, arriving at the Eiffel Tower. I chickened out, so I'm just going to go on my bike ride, because I've been standing here and people have been walking in and out of my flat for 20 minutes looking at me like this guy looks really uncool. So I'm going to get on with this bike ride. I've got 5 days left until my ride. I'm terrified. This is actually going to be the last ride I do before the bike ride on Friday, because I'm going to do some training with Henry next week in the gym and then recover, getting ready for the ride. So this is the last time I'm going to be on the bike. So I'm just going to do a route that I've done before through South London, so I'm probably not going to film a lot on the GoPro. That was kind of just for the live stream. So now I've got to wear this for the ride and look really cool. And at the end I wanted to kind of do a little bit on, I was thinking about how I felt on the ride in Yorkshire and how dramatic I was, goodness. Yeah, I remember saying on that ride that I felt quite low blood sugar, and it got me thinking about how it really feels to have a proper diabetic hypo. So I might try and chat to Ellie later on tonight about that. And also symptoms, like a couple of people have asked me, like, how do you know if you've got diabetes? And I guess I've not really touched on that, so I'm going to talk a bit about that as well. But for now, I'm just going to get on the ride and have fun. See you when I get back, bye.
Bridge was up. I'm gonna have to find a new route. Bit nervous about this diversion. Going underground. The Rotherhithe Tunnel. Built over 100 years ago. And when they built it, I don't think they expected cars. Because it has no ventilation. So immediately I've just felt a huge raise in temperature. It's so weird. It's like cycling through smog. Yeah. That was intense.
So, that was probably the best cycle I've ever done. I got to Tower Bridge and the bridge was closed, as in the bridge gates were up because there was a huge ship coming through London. And once I got back onto the route south of the river, I don't know what happened, I just got it into my head that I wanted to complete it in the same time, having added on those extra 5 miles, same time that I did it last time. And I just went into some sort of sprint mode, and it was amazing how much my legs could take. A couple of things, I've not cycled since the Yorkshire ride. I've not cycled in a week. I meant to on Thursday and I couldn't for other reasons, and I've been going to the gym and stuff and working on legs, but I've not cycled. So that's interesting that I had that much energy having had a recovery week. And interesting as well, this will be the last time I cycle, so I'll probably have just about the same amount of recovery again, which I guess is a good thing if it produces that result. It's so true, you know, like about the choice to be positive. Just choose to be positive in life generally. I mean, on a bike, you should as well. You know, when you're approaching a hill and you're looking at this huge hill in front of you that you've got to get up through your own, you know, body power, I guess. it's hard to think about it positively, but you can choose to be positive in life. You really can. It's a choice. And you just try and flick that switch in your head and be like, you know, yep, I'm going to achieve this, and I can achieve this, and I feel ready. And last week I didn't feel ready. I hope that doesn't make me complacent, and I hope I don't set off on the ride next weekend thinking that, you know, I've got this, but I guess quietly confident would be the title of today's vlog. I'm going to do this thing with Ellie tomorrow, hopefully, just really quickly do a little interview with her about what it really feels like, what she can think is the best way to describe how it feels like to have a diabetic hypo. I could probably come up with something on my own, but I think I should wait until tomorrow until I've got her and all of her attention and focus on this task at hand. That will probably be the last vlog that I do, just because I think that the best thing to do on the ride is to periscope. So a lot of you, whenever I upload a vlog of me using the GoPro on the bike, a lot of you comment on how unsafe it is and how I'm not very careful. Although I will use it on the ride, I might not vlog with it or daily vlog it. I might just use it as my own personal souvenirs, and I might use Periscope at the water stops and the lunch breaks to let you know how I'm getting on. So for the last ever training vlog, which I've explained is the case already, I've decided to introduce this lovely person again, because generally the vlogs go a lot better when she's involved. So what I thought would be a good idea in this last vlog would be to talk to Ellie a bit about the symptoms of diabetes, because a lot of people have asked, you know, how would they know if they developed diabetes. Thought we'd run through some key symptoms with Ellie, and she's got a great thing called the 4 T's.
Do you want to just take everything I'm going to say?
No, I'm just introducing it, and then you're going to come in with what they are. I don't know what the 4 T's are. I'm about to find out.
I was about to explain what the 4 T's are.
All right, go on then. We'll start again. Beep.
Okay, so basically, Diabetes UK have kind of condensed all the symptoms that you can experience into 4 main symptoms, which are the most common. They're not the only symptoms, but they're definitely ones that I had before I was diagnosed, and the things that led my parents to think there was something up. So the 4 T's are thinner, you lose a lot of weight. Thirst, you get very, very thirsty because your body is trying to flush all of the extra glucose in your blood out of your bloodstream. I can remember times when I would get up in the middle of the night and drink a pint of water and still feel, you know, a huge thirst. Because of all that water, another T is toilet. You just constantly need to go for a wee. And the last T, which I haven't mentioned, have I mentioned a T? Tiredness, tired. I was very, very tired before I was diagnosed. I just didn't have any energy. I would lie on the sofa and could hardly climb the stairs to go to bed at night. So they're the 4 T's.
After my ride in Yorkshire, I wanted to talk a bit really to you about what it really is like to have a hypo. Because I remember on the Yorkshire ride, I remember being halfway round and feeling what I would classify to myself as quite low blood sugar, feeling very weak and wobbly. And I remember saying in that vlog that I probably wasn't anywhere near what you would classify as a diabetic hypo.
Hypos, the symptoms completely vary from person to person, so that can be completely different. But also what I find is as well, I can have different types of hypos. I find if I'm dropping very, very quickly, you know the feeling when you're on a roller coaster and you go through a tunnel or something, and there's kind of pressure and it pushes your head down. It's really weird to explain, but you kind of feel, I kind of get this feeling like I'm not quite in control of my body, if that makes sense. So I feel quite shaky, quite sometimes a little bit dizzy and sometimes a little bit nauseous. It's almost like my body's kind of vibrating. I know that sounds really weird, but like you feel like you can't quite, like for example, if I'm carrying something, you've noticed if I say I've got hypo hands and I want to give it to you, because my hands will get quite shaky and I kind of not lose control but don't feel stable. And then there's other times where hypos can kind of come on slowly over the day, and you're not dropping so fast, maybe you don't notice it, and then suddenly you stand up and you think, oh, actually I feel really, really wobbly. And there's ones where you can feel sweaty and just generally disgruntled. You can have angry hypos. Times when you just feel really angry and you do a sugar test and it's because you're hypo.
I know about those.
Shh. There's certain hypos where you get so hungry. I used to have them a lot in the middle of the night. So I'd wake up in the middle of the night, I'd just be crazily hungry and practically eat everything in the kitchen.
I mean, don't you feel hungry every time you have a hypo? Like the other day on the bike, I was feeling really low blood sugar. That automatically went to my brain as you need to refill with sugar. Does that not happen when you usually have a hypo?
It also depends what you're doing. There are times after a meal where you become hypo and you feel hungry, but there's also times when you've just eaten a meal and you're just so full and then you become hypo and then you have to eat something on top of that, and that's just awful.
Oh, yeah.
That's just the worst thing. Even drinking sometimes, ugh. So it can really vary. But for me, the main thing I get is like a shakiness, can't quite focus, can't quite concentrate, and just get a bit distracted basically. It's not a nice feeling though. It's not like being drunk or anything like that.
Okay, cool. So a lot of the riders that will be doing the ride with me this weekend, in 3 days, will be diabetic. So throughout the day they'll probably be feeling a lot like all of those things you just said.
To do that amount of physical exercise and still be able to manage their diabetes, hats off to them.
Yeah.
I have a massive amount of respect for that.
Well, hopefully I'll be getting to chat to a lot of them if they don't find me intensely irritating with all the questions. And yeah, I already explained that I'm going, I've not said this to you, but I think I've already explained on the video that I'm not going to vlog the ride. I'm either going to Periscope at certain rest stops, or I'm just going to tweet and Instagram, because a lot of you have said that it's quite dangerous when I've been videoing myself on the bike. Also, I don't think a lot of the other cyclists would probably very much like their cycling habits to be live streamed to the internet. I'll see if anybody else wants to join in on those Periscopes. Maybe I can chat to some people on the ride during them, maybe not. We'll see. But yeah, this is it, and thank you very much for all of that. That was awesome. Get a better idea of how a lot of the other cyclists will be feeling. Cool. Well, thank you very much for following all of the vlogs, and thank you for putting up with me and my lycra these last couple of months. And yeah, I'll see you all on the ride. Yeah, thanks very much for donating and for spreading the word about Diabetes UK. And please keep doing so, because I care about this one very much.
Can I just say as well, we've actually been completely blown away by how many people have watched the vlogs and sent emails and messages and commented and, you know, given us feedback of what they want to know, what they want to see. And we never expected that to happen. George had this idea to start the vlogs to kind of keep some interest for donations and to raise as much money as possible. And actually, it's been a lot more than that. And yeah, we're just really grateful. It's made me think a lot more about how I manage my diabetes, and it's also made me feel like everyone's in the same boat. So thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you very much. Right then, that's it. Signing off, and yeah, wish me luck, and see you soon in the Twitter sphere in Paris. See you in Paris.